I had no intentions of putting out music under nickspat, whatever, and then I just like found a sound that was like so authentic to me, and I felt like I was the only one who could be the voice of that song and be the artist to deliver it.
Welcome to episode 6 of At the Dinner Table, where we explore how nickspat found his means of artistic expression. We talk about how Nick builds worlds around his music, curates his taste, and how he went from being a guitar player to a fully developed artist. There are so many epiphanies that Nick is going through as a growing artist, such as finding the right time for criticism in the songwriting process, creating an artistic approach to TikTok content, and developing his first body of work. More on that right now. All right, we are back. Episode 6, right? That's what it is?
Six.
Oh my God, it literally is.
Episode 6, dude. It's been a minute. We have a really special episode, and that's because we are going to go into the inner depths and talk about the mindset, the creativity, and the experience of nickspat as an artist.
Woo!
Nickspat.
Nickspat.
Welcome Nickspat to the podcast.
I'm hyped. This is a special episode
This is gonna
for
be
sure.
interesting.
Yeah, cool. So Nick, why don't we start off right off the bat? When did you know you wanted to pursue nickspat as an artist alongside everything that we're doing with Sunday Dinner?
That's a good question. I think, okay, this kind of relates to Joe's current situation, but I feel like you never know until you fucking know. And for me, what made me know is just like a song, like a single song. And that was Fashion.
It was Fashion.
Yeah, like, because like when I made Fashion, like, you know, over a year ago now, like I had no intentions of putting out music under nickspat, whatever, and then I just like found a sound that was like so authentic to me, and I felt like I was the only one who could be the voice of that song and be the artist to deliver it. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm starting to draw parallels to other things that I can do with my artistry, and like I was getting into a lot of other like mediums of art at the time too. Like I picked up film photography. I was like starting to really get into film, like movie film shit, and I felt like I realized that like there's so much more to art than just music, and up until that point I was just like totally musically oriented. I feel like, yeah.
I really want to get into the film stuff and the like all the photography, everything visual that came after.
Cool.
But first, let's just start with the sound of Fashion.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a sound that like to me I was like, "Oh, okay. So he's going to keep on going down this route." And then you kind of like left turned it a little bit.
Yes.
I remember there was a lot of songs around the time of Fashion that you were making
Yes.
that we got to hear, maybe like not everyone else got to hear them. And low key like I would still push for you dropping those.
Yes.
But anyway, what's going on in your head at the time where you just finished Fashion and you had all other songs that kind of fit into the same sound and the same style, and then you were like, I don't want to put these out yet?
Yeah, I think I don't really know. I felt like I was growing like so quickly as an artist, and my taste especially was like very erratic at that point in time. It still is. I think my taste has always been like pretty just like erratic and all over the place, but I wasn't ready to commit to that sound. I had like 3 or 4 songs that could have come out from that like kind of sound of shit, and I definitely had this big moment like over the summer where I was like really torn between like, do I finish the Fashion like lineage of music, or do I just start this TV thing right now, which was inspired by Won't Go. Like Won't Go was the thing that kind of like made that whole thing happen.
Yeah.
My decision basically was I need to just go with the thing that I'm most excited about now. I can't like, just because I started this expectation, which really is just one song. It's like very silly to be like dictating the next like 6 releases of my artist career based on one song and where I think it's supposed to be going.
Sure.
I think it was important for me to just do what I felt most passionate about, and that's what ended up happening. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, and I also feel like the aesthetic of Fashion, both musically, lyrically, and in the visuals too, is like, it's definitely me and is definitely like authentic to me, but I feel like I've narrowed in on something that's a little bit more intimate with the whole TV thing, and it's a little bit more like honest with like me and who I want to be as an artist and shit like that. And I'm wondering also if like me like moving back home in my parents' basement and like kind of like finding or like refamiliarizing myself with this like these inner child feelings
right.
and these like things that are like truly me is what inspired this whole project to happen. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Because like fashion was like it was a construct of like being in college and being surrounded by like mad different like styles of art and people doing their own thing, and there was just this culmination of like all these influences and tastes around me,
right,
that kind of created this like, I guess, melting pot of a song with like, you know, all of the like there's Chili Peppers guitars, but there's like a drum and bass beat and like all these different things. You know what I mean?
But maybe the way that all those things are coming together wasn't the most true to who you are.
Exactly.
Well, dude, I mean, like that. Just to speak on the beginning of Sunday Dinner, I think that's what we found ourselves like doing all the time, right? So All My Love was a situation we put ourselves in, and I mean, like I would say probably every release that we have or had up until Fashion felt like it ended up being something that we were really trying to separate like from ourselves to access. Definitely. But meanwhile, like I think we're both finding, and all of us are finding, that artistry is just this like this closerness that you get to yourself, right? Which is fucking crazy.
That leads me to a question.
Yeah.
So we have like the pleasure of sharing a Dropbox, and that means that I have access to like all the nickspat disco, and that makes me wonder, like this kind of ties into what Matt was saying before, but like there are things that I listen to that I'm like, holy shit, like this one should be out. Like, do you have a determining factor for what specifically should go out, or is it just like that thing that we always talk about on the show where it's like an innate like feeling? Because like there are things that I'm just like, damn, that is fucking fire, like it should be out, but like then I see, you know, your vision for it, I'm like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question, and like as much as I don't want this to be true, I often find that I know something's coming out when I start it. Like within 30 minutes of starting an idea, I know if it's coming out or not.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's like a bad thing necessarily, if I'm like creating now an expectation, but I don't think it's that, and I don't think I'm worried about what other people are going to think about it in the moment, and that's why I believe it should come out. I think
you're excited.
It's a level of excitement, and it's also just this like level of connection that I feel towards the piece. Even in a bare bones 30-minute demo of it, I just know that I'm going to be willing to dedicate month to that project. You know what I'm saying?
Has that ever caused more pressure on the writing process?
Yes, it definitely, with Won't Go especially, because I like penned verse 1 and pre-chorus 1, and like the essence of the production was there. Sure. And I penned that in one session in April, and then when I finally committed to TV and to that being the lead single in like June, July, like I found myself like in a situation where I was like, I am in love with this song. It's one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing I've ever made, and I literally have no idea what the fuck to say next in this song. Like the chorus literally took me 2.5 weeks to like figure out.
Dude, that song came started. I remember when it was, and we were still in our old house, and it was literally like springtime. Yeah. Like we were working on a song, me and you, in the room, and then you were locked in your room. Yes. And like you came out when it was dark. Yeah. And like I heard that guitar and I was like, that's fucking cool. Yeah. As shit. So it's been like that one had a development period.
Yeah. It definitely did. Yeah. And I'm glad I was able to spend the time away from it too, because I think that it led to a better song, but I really, really had to push like super hard. And it was like, I was a little bit manic for like those 2 weeks. Like I would literally spend 6 hours a day, like just like, I would go outside with my guitar and I would play and I would see if anything worked, and then nothing would work, and then I would go back into the studio and like sing into the mic, and like I just kept like running in different places to see if like a new environment would inspire the idea. Yeah. And then I did a little TikTok on it with the oh shit moment. Yes. Then like one night it was like fucking 2 a.m. probably, and I was just sitting on the piano and I recorded it, thank God, and I like changed the chord on accident, and the whole thing just came together, and I fucking finished it the next day.
That's so
crazy.
Cool.
Insane.
Now, did you have that initial like, I'm gonna release this song or finish it with Fashion?
Oh, that's a great question.
Go for it.
Yeah, no, I think I did.
You did.
I definitely did. Yeah, I wrote it like I wrote the guitar riff in the middle of a lesson. I was teaching like a 9-year-old girl, and we were just doing some shit, and then I played that first chord, and then I was like, wait. And I'm like literally figuring out the thing as I'm trying to teach her. Yeah. And then like ran home after work that day and just like laid down the guitar thing and like did the verse, the chorus, the pre and the chorus all in one day. And then just sat on that demo for like 2 months. Same thing with Won't Go. And then in December, I was like, I'm gonna finish this fucking bitch.
Yeah,
And-
but you were pretty manic with that too, because
I
like
was.
literally
I was super
every
manic
other
with it,
day
yeah.
I heard Fashion being played in your room.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, just fucking mix a song and release it.
No,
already.
no, I know.
Like, it was getting to that point.
I definitely mind fucked the mix of that song.
I remember you choosing the snare sample.
Yeah.
I was like, how many snare samples is this guy gonna go through?
But it sounds good though.
Yeah,
but
I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with curation. Like I'm so fucking meticulous about sample choice and like
Yeah.
the way that everything comes together in the song. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would like to be not better at it, but I would love to not have to spend like hours on that.
Sure.
But
Well,
it's
I mean,
worth it.
It definitely is
Fashion
worth
like
it.
taught you so much, and I
Yes.
think that's probably one of the things it taught you is just how to have better like choice from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
that translated to Nights with You. Like the-
yeah, literally.
Like everything in that.
The aesthetic is, I just want the aesthetic to be so like specific, and it's a world of its own, you know what I'm saying?
Well
And I'm
thought
not
out.
compromising on any aspect of the world that I'm creating in the song
Sure.
with the production.
Everything is created with intent and
Yes.
meticulously created.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
you definitely knocked it out of the park.
Thanks, bro.
Really cool.
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
So when you're writing alone, obviously it's its own process.
Yes.
And then we come together every once in a while, and the four of us write in a room together. So what are the differences in the process for when you're writing alone versus when you're in the room with the three of us or with a collaborator?
I love that question. I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. And like, you know, the way everything is going right now, TV and everything I've released up to this point and the things that are going to be on TV are all literally written, produced, and mixed by nickspat.
Mhm.
And there's a different approach that I feel when I'm in that mindset. I feel like I really dig super deep and I spend more time like crafting it. But I also feel like that has created like moments of like thought loops and moments where I spend a lot of time making like absolutely no progress or even like reversing progress. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like being in the room with you guys, I'm always less in my head for better or for worse, but I feel like I will even think of shit that I won't think of alone when I'm in the presence of other people, especially you guys. So
Right.
it's two different sides, and like I think that they both have benefit, and I make different things when I'm with people than when I'm by myself, I would say. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, like when we were in the studio with Andrew last week, your contributions were like not something that I would expect almost. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like
Interesting.
like you laid down this like nasty like vocal line on the guitar though.
Right.
And like that shit was like super cool. I would have like almost like say I didn't know you,
Mhm.
right? I would expect you to come in the studio and like put down some like fashion type lyrics or something like that.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
But
right.
like you're there like trying to like serve the song and like that
Right.
was super super dope.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fire.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
When you were like in purchase like freshman year,
Mhm.
sophomore year, like pre Sunday dinner and the start of it,
Mhm.
did the whole artist thing ever come to your minds, or were you just writing songs to get better at the craft and to pitch it to other artists?
That's a
great
great question.
question.
I love that question. I think I flirted with that idea with Body on Me.
yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
you know, if you know Body on Me,
Rest
you're
in
a
peace.
real
Shout
fucking
out
one,
to
bro. Like, god damn it,
That's something
man.
like
I love that
Nardwar would
song.
ask if
Nah,
he interviewed
literally.
Yeah.
That means you've been following me for a minute, which is crazy. That also just means you're my mom, probably.
In
but
one way or another.
yeah, right. But like I was saying, I think at the beginning of the episode, like I didn't consider the idea that I wanted to be an artist or the fact that I was gonna sing, even that early on. Like I really had no idea. I came into school when I was 19 years old as a fucking guitar player.
Yeah.
That's literally all I did. You know what I mean? I fucking played blues guitar. But then I like made this fucking beat. I was like listening to a lot of new music and I made this fucking like 8-bar beat with like interesting chords and I was like, oh damn. And then next thing I know I'm writing to it. Next thing I know I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to sing over this and I didn't know until that song. And then after that, I had no fucking idea. Like there was no other songs were coming. I was trying, but nothing was happening. And then this is like around the time that Sunday Dinner like fell into place. And I feel like Matt and I kind of crafted the intention and the vision of Sunday Dinner around our strengths, which was as writers and producers, not necessarily as artists and vocalists.
True, and then
Yeah.
that did transition into, what was the first single, Devil? that you guys sang on?
That was the
Definitely, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, what
exactly.
made you guys like put your vocals on that song as opposed to pitching it to someone else?
Well, I think it was more a lack of options. Like we were pitching it, and we did try a couple of different artists on, especially on, I think only on verse 2.
Yeah, it
Right?
was it was just like the feature verse.
Yeah, and like we realized like fuck this, like we want to stop relying on other people. Like it can either go like so well, like with Wendy and Kalea on those first 2 drops, like that superseded anything we would have been able to do, just the 2 of us. But then with Devil, we were just like, fuck it, like we can do this ourselves too. Like why
Right, but
not?
that was huge for us.
It
dude.
was.
Like, do you remember how much
It
we
was.
used to like talk about artists, like pitching to artists
Yes.
and getting the right artists on it?
Right.
And I mean, we couldn't get any artists on it just
No.
because like it's, you know, I mean, like, I don't know, I guess if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, like something about the music industry is that like when you're on the entry level tier of like just starting to make music and stuff, it's tough to get people to want to sing on your song.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
even within the music industry, there's not this hierarchy, but this natural, like people who are working on really, really dope shit are going to be busier with their really, really dope shit and not really have time for like any gig that just comes up.
Right.
So me and you were like, oh man, let's get a song to Wendy, let's get another one to her, and like let's get like the best artist we possibly can. But it just wasn't right.
Yeah. Like we struck gold with those first 2 releases, and I believe we thought we were going to be able to like sustain that trajectory, and it just wasn't feasible. And I think we realized like early on in that process that like we were spending more time trying to find artists for songs than actually making fucking songs. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
So if
Wow.
you're listening to this and you relate in any sort of way, start singing over your music
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, get on
And,
it.
and Bellion talks about that in some interview where he's like, yeah, you know, like I started making beats, and then I started rapping over the beats because I couldn't find someone to rap over the beats, and then I started singing the hooks because I couldn't find someone to sing the hooks, and now all of a sudden this dude's just a full on fucking
He's got everything in his
A-list artist. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just like out of just like the passion for it and not necessarily even wanting to step into that role, but then out of necessity stepping into that role.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
And he got to a really good, he became a better writer doing that,
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And if he didn't do that, he would just be stuck producing and making beats.
Exactly.
Right,
You know?
right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a hot and spicy question.
Ooh.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
So we're talking about like kind of shifting into the beginning of like the Sunday dinner thing.
Yeah.
And it's my belief that like something special about this group is that everybody kind of got good, like, or better fast.
Yes.
Right. It was kind of like a quick, like, boom. Like,
Yeah.
you hear everything was faster and faster and faster, and everyone was kind of better. And that's the process for everybody. But I'm just saying, in specifically, like the original, like OG Sunday dinner stuff, everyone was getting better really quick.
Yes.
And I want to know how competitive that dorm room was between the two of you two.
Oh wow, I love that fucking question so much, dude.
Was it competitive?
I don't feel like we were competing at all. Actually, I actually really, or it wasn't in a like fuck you, I'm trying to make a better song than you. It was more like, I don't know. I just have this image in my head of it was like we would literally be like the layout of the room was bed.
Pull up some
Bed.
pictures if we have them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll throw some
I have
pictures in
some.
there.
I have
Yeah.
some. Yeah.
And then our studio setups were like kind of back to back, and Matt and I would literally just be in the chair all day with our fucking headphones on, and then I would like turn my speakers on, like, yo, listen to this, what do you think of this? And he would give me notes, and then we would just go back and forth every day,
Right.
all night long.
Right.
That's
and
cool.
and I think it was smart of us to not like, we did a lot of collaboration in that period, but like the primary focus for both of us is just like, what the fuck is our sound, and like what are we good at? What do we need to work on? And like, where do we fit into this like mosh pit of the music industry? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we found it in different ways
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we also got a lot of individual work time in as well.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
where we weren't working on the same project,
Yes.
and
I
you
would
know,
say most of it was that.
most of it was that.
Mm.
Most, yeah, and that's valuable to us because
Super valuable.
You know, you were coming in from the rock background, I was coming from the jazz background. I thought I was gonna hold on to that neo soul vibe
Right,
for as
right,
long as
right.
I lived.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
preparing to be like a neo soul keyboardist.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like you, like I think you were coming from like or you thought you were gonna stay in the rock field.
Yeah, I wasn't really honestly sure, and then I fell in love with pop music like in that first semester.
There you go.
And that kind of in one way or another led to like that next year us like birthing Sunday Dinner and just like devoting our lives to pop music.
Right.
Literally.
Our marriage to pop music.
What was like the key like switch that switched you on to pop music? Do you know?
Yeah, it was Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa.
Facts.
Yeah, I remember being dude, it's so visceral. Like I had my fucking AirPods in and I was just like running through like music and I was like, let me just listen to like pop music, like just see. And I was that fucking, I grew up, or I was learning in high school to just be a musician. I was being trained by very like high caliber musicians, and the general mindset in that world is just like simplicity is the death of like, I don't know. They just hate things that are simple for some reason. You know what I mean?
Low key.
And or at least in the jazz worlds and some of my mentors early on. But anyway, Don't Start Now came on and there's like a fucking insane bass line in the chorus of that song, and I was like, something clicked, like a key turned in my head, and I was like, wait a minute, like this shit is actually not simple. They're just hiding these like really complex arrangements and like musical ideas under just like a really simple chord structure and a really catchy melody.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think
Deceptive.
it's very deceptive. And also what made me realize how deceptive is when I tried to make pop music, I was like, oh, this should be a walk in the fucking park. And I was like, this sounds like absolute asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not easy, bro. It's really not. It's actually so difficult.
Yeah. And like, not to like make this about myself, but I had a class where I would do, like we would compose. Like we had comp 1, comp 2, comp 3, and comp 4 at school.
Right.
And you do it every level. And like there was a pop week, and it was like make a pop song. And like I just remember this was like way before like we were working together, and I was like, what the I don't like, oh, I got the chords for it, like, but what the hell? This
What were their
weird.
references for a pop song?
Like Adele, I don't know, some like I remember that was like a reference, but like, and then like also I don't know if you guys experience this, but history classes in music school for me stopped at 1980.
Right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Right.
Why do they do that?
Why do they do that?
Why does that make any sense? It's like we are in the most exciting time for music right now.
Right now.
Because
Yeah.
who's teaching the classes? People born in the 60s.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, this is the best era. And then they stopped listening to music after the 90s.
Yeah.
This is a hot take, but I think if you wanted to teach, like, for the purposes of music production, and even like if you're trying to be a classical musician, like obviously you're already gonna have to learn romantic music and like all the shit that's like way before you, because that is the foundation of the music that you play.
Mm-hmm.
But you could start a music history course in 1965. You got to start at the birth of rock and roll in the 50s.
Yeah.
And you will know everything you need to know, and I think it will set you up for success in today's industry if you understand how we got from the 50s to now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I totally
It's
agree.
relevant enough to the point where you get a good through line.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what I fucked with like semester 2 of Jetter's history of recorded music class. Like we really got down and dirty in like the history of like very recent shit. You know what I'm saying?
What I remember so specifically is the change from analog to digital.
Yes.
And I forget what song it was, but it was like some like early 2000s, like the first time that they put like auto-tune on like a pop vocal.
Right.
And I could just imagine being there, dude, and being like, this is the future.
Right.
And like,
Right.
what are we doing today?
Right.
Antares.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the same shit. So super, super cool. History's so dense too.
It really is.
Like you could study 65 to 69 if you wanted to.
Yes,
Yes.
For a whole semester.
Yeah,
a whole
an
semester.
entire
Yeah.
semester.
Literally.
Yes.
That makes me think of a quote that I saw this week. I don't know. It was probably Instagram. I see all my shit on Instagram or TikTok, but it was like nothing in music or art is difficult. It's just unfamiliar to you. And
Oh, wow.
and that kind of how I feel about music history and like certain things that you decide to study is like you can go into the weeds and like it's so there's so much to unveil and see there that like some things are going to always be unfamiliar to you, but that's what cultivates your taste at the end of the day.
Yes.
Is the things that you end up becoming familiar with. Those are the things that you get good at. So you shouldn't be shitting on yourself for the things that you aren't like hip to or that you're not like into. I feel like there's this like idea that you need to be like a what's the word when you're just good at everything? like you're just
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. You know, jack of all trades, like master of like nothing,
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
So it's interesting. I don't know. I feel like it's better to just enjoy the things that you enjoy rather than feel like you have to get everything soaked into your brain. That
Absolutely.
can be so overwhelming.
Absolutely. And you know that like that's something that clicked for me like earlier on in my artist process, where I realized that like you're really a product of the art you consume more so than you're a product of the art that you like make, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I can't expect to be good at some like crazy like reggae shit as a guitar player, or even write that as a songwriter, if I'm not listening to it 24/7 and immersing myself in that style to the point where it reflects who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's easy to be like, okay, I'm a musician, I should be able to do
Right,
this.
right.
But you know what's crazy? Eric DOA posted on his story a Spotify playlist of all the songs he's influenced right now. I was like, yeah, I'm going to know half of these. I knew one artist.
Yep.
It was Chief Keef. Like one.
Wow.
All the other shit was like Asian like music and artists I've never heard of. I was expecting to know half of it because I love Eric.
Right.
But I was blown away. I was like, I know nothing.
Right.
I was like, I want to do a deep dive into what he's listening to now, which
For
is
sure.
it's so weird. It's so weird.
Wait, so Nick, do your Eric DOA influence playlist right now on the spot.
Oh fuck!
Like,
I actually have
5 songs.
Can I
5
grab
songs.
my phone?
Yeah,
And
say
I
that,
have
say that.
a playlist. It's called like TV concept, and it's all the songs that I feel like are influencing me right now and like influencing the project.
Nice.
That's cool.
Can people listen to this?
Yeah, it's on my artist page. So
that's
if you
sick.
wanted to listen to
Go
it,
check it out.
you could. So and then of course I put like songs from TV in it too, just so that you like can kind of see them in context.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like Chemical by Post Malone and Circles by Post Malone, I would say are just like 2 songs that are on repeat. And like they're just fucking so cool. And I love the way what I was talking about before about the crafting the aesthetic in the production. I feel like those 2 songs do that flawlessly.
Yeah.
And then we have some like Rule
I think it's Rule. Yeah.
from his last album, Growing Up Is I Don't Want to Be Like You, Someone Else's Problem. And then I'm really into Role Model right now, especially Forever
Fuck
and
yeah.
More. That song is fucking insane. And then Bakar's last album, great. And yeah, it's all like if you listen to this playlist, you'll be like, oh, I understand this perfectly. I wouldn't even say like you were saying Eric DOA that DOA is like it's adjacent or like far removed from his music, and then he like pulls very specific references to influence on. This shit is like, nope, this is the world that I'm in, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check
That's
out this
super cool.
playlist.
Definitely. I feel like there's 2 ways you could go, and those are the 2 ways. Like the Eric
Absolutely.
DOA way and then this way, because
Absolutely.
sometimes it's going to be obvious, and sometimes you're like, oh, okay, I really can see the influences, and then like that's just kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like how
absolutely.
much, and I wonder how much music he listens to versus creates. I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
100%.
like he's kind of like, I want to make stuff that's like completely different, but I don't know. I personally can't relate to that because I feel like everything that I do is just so in tune with what I'm listening to. And that's kind of how I feel like your playlist is working.
Exactly. And also like, you know, before I, you know, embarked on this artist journey, like I was a producer first, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like as a producer, like I'm so used to being in a session or like we're working on a song and the artist is like, oh, well, I really like this. And they're just sending me references, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like reverse engineering the references to kind of fit the aesthetic of what they're doing. And I know Pharrell talks about this all the time,
Yeah.
like his whole, and the reason, like, cause you can get into some scary territory legally with this shit. Like the reason he had that whole Marvin Gaye with that Robin Thicke song?
Yeah, I think
like
that
the
was
reason that whole thing happened is because he maybe got a little too close in his process of reverse engineering, you know,
Yeah,
a feeling from a song.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But I feel like that approach is the most natural to me. And I'm just kind of being the artist rather than and sending the references to myself, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For real, bro. Which
That's funny.
is taste, is it not?
That's literally all it is.
That's just taste
That's
right
Yum.
literally all it is. Yeah.
In this case, it tastes good. So
Damn, dude.
moving forward into TV,
Yeah.
like
Do you like TV? No, go.
I love.
I don't even watch TV. That's the ironic part. I literally spend probably like 5 minutes a day watching TV at most. It's actually insane.
That's so funny.
5 minutes?
At the very most, yeah.
But like, if you watch TV, I feel like you're sitting at the TV for at least like 22 minutes.
Right.
Isn't
No,
that, like,
I throw like Friends on before I go to bed. Like, I'll be like half reading a book, half watching Friends, and just like for like 5 minutes, and then I'll just shut it off and go to bed. That's like the most TV I watch.
What are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's like a really crazy book, and
Are you planning on taking over a country?
No. Well, okay, so this is interesting because
The Art of War.
No,
Read next.
literally, and it's actually influenced by The Art of War. I forget the author of that book, but Robert Greene is like super into him. But I don't know. I don't know why I got it, but I just got it. It was like on sale on Amazon. And I was like, this looks interesting. Yeah. And when I first started reading it, I was like, I fucking hate this. I was like, this is so against everything that I feel like I am, and it's so nihilistic, and it's so just like exploitative.
Yeah, that's a word.
Is that the word?
Yeah. You got it.
And then I read it more, and I was like, oh my god, like this guy's really on something, and like it's a pretty like relentless book. Like he really doesn't give a fuck about like morals or anything, but the whole idea is that you live in a world where the fabric of morals are so slim and so easily shiftable and breakable that you need to understand how to engage and exist and be safe in that world. Sure. And then also manipulate it yourself. His whole idea is like sink or swim. Like you have a choice. Like you either have to be, I'm not manipulating people, but he's like, you either have to like fall into this shit if you want the success and the power that you want, or you have to just be a victim. You know what I mean?
That's
and he's like, you choose.
That is highly nihilistic, but but it's interesting how just like from your perspective, you find the most growth from perspectives that are different than your own.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like,
so
I want to be skeptic about something that I'm reading. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what provides the space for growth and the space for learning. And they say you can learn a lot about somebody from the book that they have on their nightstand.
Yeah.
How far into it are you?
I'm a little bit more than halfway through. It's really great.
It's around like 26.
Yeah, I think I just finished like rule number 27 last night. Wow. Yeah.
Damn, dude.
But anyway, back to TV. Not to talk about world domination or anything.
Bro's trying to get on his conquistador shit.
No, literally. No, but it really does
Nicholas
help
the
you.
Great.
I feel like
Nickspat the Great. Yo, that's actually crazy. Nicholas Caesar out here, bro.
Nicholas Caesar.
That's funny.
But like the great would be with an 8 at the end. Do you know
Right.
what I mean?
And it's all one word too.
Yes.
To fit the Nickspat aesthetic.
Fuck you, bro.
Dude. Stylized text.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, explain your concept behind TV, because it's a concept that I've been able to attach myself so closely with and understand so accessibly throughout your content, and also just
awesome.
Obviously throughout the way that you explained it to me.
Cool.
Tell me about the little companion block of a TV you have.
So the whole
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Come on, little TV, come with me.
Come here.
The whole premise, basically, and it was actually inspired by a song, and the song is called TV. It's the title track of the whole project. And has yet to come out at this very moment, but it will drop with the project. And the whole premise is that it's the way that I kind of interact with like these past loves and past relationships, and how like I create this like nostalgia around them. And the same way I like curate like a world and an aesthetic around a song, I almost do the same thing with like past relationships. And the whole idea is that like I just keep watching it on this like TV screen in my brain, right? And it's like an old vintage TV that I'm using to like visually like symbolize this feeling, you know? But it's nostalgic love. That's really the premise of it. And it's kind of just like I keep reminiscing about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's also the thought loop thing a little bit too,
Absolutely,
right? Because it's
absolutely.
like you're flipping through the channels of your previous thought,
Exactly.
or your current thought,
Right.
but it all has to do with previous experiences and love, right?
Exactly.
And you're watching them on the TV.
Like literally, that's the whole premise. Yeah. It's fucking cool, and like I don't want to say it now because I don't want to give it away, but like the way that I will move on from that in the project, and also I'm planning to do in my life as well, you'll understand it at the end, and you'll see how I tie it all together. It's gonna be fucking sick.
I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, you
It's
do.
gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so cool.
Is there like a release timeline?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm playing around with this a lot because I have the track list and I have, you know, the next single is just about ready to be like submitted, but I don't know if I want to release it as a project or if I want to just do them all as singles, because it's only 5 tracks. And like the more I would hate to let marketing and like the atmosphere of the music industry like dictate my decisions around the art, but I also feel like at this point like I really don't have anything to lose. And I really like, I don't know. I'm not in a position where I can just do whatever the fuck I want. And I feel like I have to succumb to some element of the way that strategies might elicit growth for me as an artist. You know what I mean?
There's an argument that you're already doing that.
Definitely.
Like there's an argument that you're already making like as much content and the type of content that you need to make.
Right.
Telling the right stories
Right.
that are engaging, interesting. I know you do your like TikTok research and stuff
Right.
like that. Like that's all like feeding right into that better strategy.
Exactly.
And a
Exactly.
strategy that inevitably you need to take care of right now at this part of your artist journey.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to release, I just think I'm going to release every song as a single, and then when the title track comes out, it will come out with everything. And that way,
Sick.
like the whole, for the viewers, the whole idea behind this is that like getting an individual release for every single track on the project will allow me to to pitch to playlists, and that while I might not necessarily like, I'm not really planning to place on a huge playlist on Spotify, but I'm planning to, you know, be in the algorithm and be on radio and be on what is it called, on repeat, and like release radar. And you can only get one of those every 28 days, and the Spotify like release cycle is really pushing for one release every 28 days. So I feel like it would be a waste to drop them all at once and only get one song for 5 basically in the algorithm.
Absolutely.
You know the
Yeah.
artist Rio Voss?
I don't.
He had that one song with Zetra. I remember we talked about.
Got you. Yeah,
But he
yeah.
did a similar thing where
Yeah.
he released like one single a month, and the album name is Gore, Gore, and he did it in reverse order. So
Sick.
one song had the capital E in it,
Right.
and the next song had a capital R in it, and the next
Right.
song had O, and then the last one had the G in
That's
it.
really fucking
And then he
cool.
just released, it was single, and then the last single was the last one, and then it was spelled out Gore.
Exactly.
And then he just released it as like an EP, like single kind of thing.
I love that.
all
That's
in
cool.
one thing.
It's brilliant. And
Yeah.
and like Jesse Cannon talks about this a lot, and he's a really like big influence of mine. And he says basically like singles, the whole idea of singles is you're bringing in new audiences, and then your EPs and albums, your long form projects are there to nourish the audience that you already have, right? So if you think about it, I'm maximizing my potential growth by releasing every track as a single, but that album is going to be there the way I intend it to be from front to back once it's all over. So like it's there. So once I've converted you as a fan, you'll get to experience the art the way I intended it to be experienced.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
just maximizing the potential that you will be a fan and that you will see what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Sure.
it.
So that's kind of my little compromise and my little strategy.
Yeah,
It's cool.
That's
Cool.
fire. How do you feel about like the new stuff that's like surfacing about like releasing music like all the time?
Yeah.
Like music basically like once a week.
I think once a week is dumb. Honestly, I understand. I understand the premise though, and I think Russ is really trying to just fire people up that are like maybe scared or intimidated or whatever. Like, cause I know Russ is the one who like kind of pushed for this in the beginning.
Him and like
he-
Nick D as well.
and they
like,
both
those
also
two guys.
they both also I think fully did that too, where they released a
Yes.
song a week.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, that's insane. I think to me, as a fan, not like what's the word I'm looking for? Accusing Russ and Nick D of this, but I feel like it shows to me that you don't necessarily value your art, because there's, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just like, oh, I'm just pumping shit out as fast as I can, and it's just like, nah, I just don't think that you're actually being intentional and crafting something that you genuinely care about if you're working that
It's
fast.
for the sake of catalog, streams, and getting more fans.
Exactly.
basically.
I kind of share the same opinion.
Yeah.
I was watching this YouTube video the other night of this kid. He was like, yeah, like now I have 45,000 monthlies and I garnished it by doing this. I put out a song a week every single week. And he was like, you know, you just got to get really, really fast with your music making and stuff like that. So he was like, there's this plugin and it just like, it'll just instant master it for you. So you just slap it
fucking
on,
insane.
like just get it fucking, you know, just get it finished and throw it out. And that's it.
Right. That's crazy. I wonder if there's a world where that could work, if it was more so just like I'm gonna cultivate a sound for a year and 2 years,
and then just be
streamline.
relentless.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that I can understand, but I don't understand the creative thing unless you literally are just not sleeping.
Facts.
There's got to be a middle ground.
Because what?
Yeah,
Unless you're
that's
Andrew.
fucked.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
literally.
Yeah.
But even still, like he literally, slept 5 hours a night and like woke up at 8 a.m. and went to bed at 8 a.m. and woke up at like fucking 1 p.m.
Right.
and just worked. But he made a huge body of work that's like there's like long ass songs on there, and he dropped it all at once too. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. What were you gonna say, Vin?
No, there's got to be a middle ground of releasing like every week and not releasing like once every 4 months or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
got to be
Well,
the middle ground for that.
the
Sweet spot.
like Russ is right. Like you know, like DSPs are social media, and you have to treat it as such. But the timeline is different. Like you might post Instagram posts once a week or twice a week, and that's the timeline of Instagram, right? But a song is a different timeline, and Spotify literally like clearly draws it out for you. They're like, our timeline is 28 days. That's our release cycle, right?
Yeah.
That's like monthly listeners are the people that have listened to you in the last 28 days, right?
Right.
The whole fucking algorithm, the whole thing is set up for 28 days. So put one song out every 28 days
there it
and you'll
is.
see success.
There it
That's
is.
all it is, right? But if you need somebody to tell you you're not doing enough, you got to work, you got to drop a song every week, blah, 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 to get you to drop once every 28 days, so be it. You know what I'm saying? But
Sure.
like, I don't think that's sustainable to drop once a week, and I don't think it's helping you like mentally and also just in the actual like environment that you're dropping your music into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fully
And that
agree.
kind of feels like a producer mindset to me.
Totally.
Like where
Totally.
you're just kind of like, I can bang out tracks
Right.
that I'm not necessarily attached to, but can also be proud of.
Right.
You know, whereas
Right.
an artist mind, that it's kind of different and feels like kind of not accessible
Yes.
to me.
Yes.
But I have a question that's a little left field.
Go ahead.
Who is the first person that hears a track that you believe in?
Oh fuck. Okay. It's my brother, my younger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Chrissy.
Chrissy. Yeah.
Shout
Shout
out
out Chrissy. He's always the first motherfucker that I play shit for. Like, and I, especially like lately, and especially with this project, I am not. And you guys would know this because you haven't heard any of the fucking demos.
Yeah.
You like hear them like a week before they come out, and I'm just being,
Which is crazy.
I'm being super protective about everything because I just don't want to introduce outside opinions on my work until I'm ready for outside opinions, until I feel like I have exhausted all of my ideas and exhausted everything that I can do for it. Then I'm ready to hear the outside opinions. You know what I mean? But with Chrissy, I just feel like he obviously he's my brother. I love him to death. But I don't know. I'll play him something, and I know if it's good. I almost use him as like a scale. Like I know if something I'm working on is good. If Chrissy like he'll literally hear it from upstairs and like come downstairs and be like, "What the fuck is this?" And it's kind of funny. But every single thing that's on TV, Chrissy has had that reaction to it.
Oh
The
shit.
Chrissy seal of approval.
Yeah,
for
literally,
TV.
literally.
Let's go.
That's great, man.
It's insane. So
Because he's sort of like a layman coming into the music
right,
world. You know?
exactly. Like literally, exactly.
You just call Nick's brother a layman?
no, he in music like
layman, not
Yes.
like in a nice way.
yeah.
He likes country music, dude. That's not a layman right there.
He's an aristocrat. Yeah, he's really got his music taste. No, but
A
you're
aristocrat.
absolutely right though. He's what is he? A
aristocrat. Sorry.
Sorry.
But yeah, that's basically what it is. And I also play my mom shit all the time too. Like she's definitely in the first group of people to hear things. But I'm not getting like constructive criticism from my mom and my
Of course.
brother.
Yeah.
You know
they
what
don't
I'm
know
saying?
that. It's all vibe to them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's dude, that's fucking brilliant,
Yeah,
bro.
they don't
You're
know.
exactly
the
right.
the vocals up 3 dB. There's there's micro shift on the reverb. They don't go. They don't
They don't give
know.
a flying fuck.
They
And
just if they have a feeling that is good, then they'll
just
say
need-
it's good.
Exactly. I just need the vibe, and that's why consumers or laymen's, as we've been fucking
We
saying,
like the layman.
no. Like, that's why their opinion is the most important
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they will not mind fuck art. They will just feel the vibe, even if it's incomplete. Like the essence
Yeah.
of the song is gonna carry through to the end of the project. You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying?
I know the song is good enough when my mom says this should be on the radio.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I hate that,
But they're
but
right.
it's true.
But
It's
that's
true.
so true.
Yeah.
I'm like, radio's dead, and she's like, no, that's her intuitively expressing that she likes that the vocals are 3 dB hotter in the
Yeah,
chorus.
yeah, yeah.
Right? No, I'm not serious about that, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
she intuitively understands that it sounds good,
Right.
and that
Yeah,
she
it's-
likes it.
It's the
Right.
only way for them to express that. Is like that's a hit song.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Should be on Sirius XM. Who listens to that? My dad does.
It sounds like the music's going through a tunnel, bro.
I need a new layman, bro, because I'd be sending my shit to Elise, and last night she was like, I think the vocals in the back, like just like a little.
Yo, shout out Elise.
Move on to a new layman. You need Jamie.
Yeah, I need Jamie.
That's hysterical, bro. I fucking love that.
Oh God. Somebody get Joe a new layman.
I did, guys, taking layman
applications.
Layman application.
Facts. I feel like my layman is Christian because he's like whenever he likes something, he just like he very rarely knocks on my door, but when he does, like he's in love with it. I'm like, damn, let me finish this.
That's cool
you know?
as fuck. Yeah, absolutely.
Yo, you want a beer? That's always him. Like he's always like, yo, you want like a beer right now?
Has he said that?
Yeah. Like when we were outside filming our first like trial podcast, he came outside. He's like, yo, you guys want a beer?
I'm like, I love you.
I was like,
Dude's
yeah.
20. He's like getting sauced every weekend now. He's just like,
That's the
"Want a
time
beer?"
to do it, though.
That's so lit. I forgot we did that mock cast.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah.
That was fun. We were definitely figuring our shit out.
Yeah.
Wow. You guys want to wrap it here? I feel like we really got to everything, man. This was a great conversation. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Mhm.
I feel good.
Cool.
I feel good.
So Nick, what's the next song?
Then, like, what's it called?
Yeah.
It's called "Take Me Away."
Take me away.
Yeah.
One word?
Oh.
One word,
Nice.
of course. You know, I'm stylizing the whole thing as one word.
Nice.
Yeah. Which is kind of fucked because now, like, if I get a title for a song and it doesn't look pretty, like one word, I change it. but I feel like I should just after TV, I might have to reconsider this. But for
Yeah.
right now, I think what the one word thing is fun. But "Take Me Away" is it ties right back into the whole nostalgic love aesthetic, and I'm really fucking excited about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Plug your
Yes,
socials.
sir.
Oh, my socials: nickspat music on Instagram, nickspat music on TikTok, nickspat music on YouTube, and just nickspat on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Tidal, wherever you listen. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And who's this last song about?
I can't say that. I definitely can't say that. But she knows it's about her, and
How?
because I told her.
Oh, you told her?
Yeah. Basically, she was like, if you ever like have a song that you wrote about me. And by the way, I'm like very good terms with this person, like very good terms. And you guys all know who it is too. But she's like,
tell us off camera.
I will.
Yeah.
If she's like, if you ever have a song that you write about me, and like, she goes, just send it to me with no context, right? And I literally, and Nights With You is about the same person too, by the way.
There you go.
So
Oh,
we're getting
shit.
some nickspat lore right now.
Oh,
But literally,
God.
like when I, she was like the third person that heard it. It was Chrissy, my mom. And then I sent it to her with no
Wow.
context.
Like third layman.
With no context, and she was like, "Oh fuck."
She knew.
Yeah, she knew right away.
That's crazy.
Fire,
Lit,
dude.
man.
Yeah. All right, love you guys. This
All
is
right,
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Spat.
It's bad, everyone.
Nick Spat.
Listen,